So we want to thank you for joining us here on News Now from Fox. We have Fox 5, Lisa Evers coming out of New York. Lisa, I'm showing live looks from across the country right now, and it is amazing to see this type of weather. We're in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm curious what it's looking like in New York and if it's changed throughout the day. Is it worse today or is it worse tomorrow? or was it worse earlier this morning?
Daytona, it has been nonstop. We started last night coming home from work and the snow was coming in, and they said, well, we're going to get it overnight, but the worst is going to start just after 10 a.m. this morning. So what we're looking at now is over a foot of snow. Now, there's been a little bit of a lull. This is kind of the first break we've had the entire day. It's just been a steady downpour of snow, and right now we're getting kind of a mist, which is making it very slushy. So the street you see behind me is a busy thoroughfare. It's one of the big crosstown streets here in the Bronx section of New York City. And you can see everything is turning into slush. They've been plowing nonstop, like since early this morning. They've been salting, they've been spreading. It's in the 20s here. I'm sure it's a lot warmer there where you are in Phoenix. And now what they're saying is that this is not the end of it, that we're still going to have more coming into tomorrow. So they've closed the schools for in-person learning today and tomorrow here in New York City. The Catholic schools are also closed. Vaccine centers today and tomorrow are closed. And they've been telling people to stay off the roads. But as you can see behind me, there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of traffic, the most that we've seen all day. So I think people are starting to feel like, okay, it looks like it's over, but the unfortunate thing is it's really not over. And they're predicting that they're predicting that by tomorrow afternoon, we could have as much as 2 feet of snow in some of the suburban areas. So it's a big mess, and it's probably going to get messier before it gets better, Daytona.
You know, Lisa, I'm curious. People are walking back and forth behind you. I know it's New York and y'all are used to the cooler weather, but have you seen several people out and about today?
Well, we have. There was when we first got here early this morning, there were very, very few people out because that was the heaviest part of the downpour of the snow. But people had to go out because it's the city. They're used to buying things in smaller quantities. When you're in the suburbs, you can go to a big superstore and stock up. You have a bigger apartment or home to keep everything in. But here they're used to going out. And also, too, this is the community that we're in right now is a very much a working class community. So a lot of the people you see behind me now, some of the people that are coming behind me right now, they are essential workers. They are performing jobs in other parts of the city, whether they're hospital workers, whether they're store clerks, whether they're drivers for cars, whether they're staff workers at other businesses that are still open today, considered essential businesses. So a lot of people got a day off, but a lot of people didn't, and a lot of people are out working. But a lot of these people you see behind me now are just coming home at this particular time because the trains were shut down for a little while. This is an overhead subway line that's above me, a very busy one and a very major one in the city. And they had to shut it down for a certain period of time because the winds were so high. So it's just been kind of a crazy day. And now we've got this wet mist, as I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but this wet mist coming down is just turning everything into slush. And as the temperature drops tonight, it's going to turn into ice. And that's what's so dangerous about it. The plows have been out nonstop. They even have an interactive map on the city website for the sanitation department where you can see when your street is going to get plowed. But it's a very hard job to keep the streets clean when you've got the slushy mix now, and it's going to be freezing by tonight. So a little concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm actually watching those cars behind you, and it looks like the roads are decent right now, but you bring up a really good point. When the temperature really drops and it gets later, the roads get icier, and drivers just have to be safe out there. From what you've seen, no problems in the area, because you're in New York City as we speak right now, correct?
Oh no, I'm definitely in New York City. I'm in the borough of the Bronx, which is in the northernmost part of New York City. It's actually the only part of New York City that's attached physically to the continental United States. The rest is separated by rivers and waterways. But you can see the road here. Let's see if Roy can get you a good picture. You can see all the slush right here at Daytona. This is like, I have waterproof boots. I'm going to really test them out right now. But
yes,
we have all this slush here. This is just complete slush. But earlier in the day, there was tons of snow. even after they plowed, we interviewed a security guard who was riding a moped in the snow before the roads were really plowed this well to try to get to his job. He was riding slowly, but he was still making his way to work. So the roads are looking at the clearest right now that we've seen, honestly, since last night, but they still want people to stay off because the more traffic, the harder it's going to be for those snow plows. And then the other thing that's been happening is the mayor yesterday declared a state of emergency here in New York City. And when that happens in New York, that triggers a response by the NYPD. So what they do is, instead of just waiting for 911 calls, they have, that's a New Yorker, he just goes, the weather's great. The NYPD, they send out roving patrols. They have their lights flash. It's New York, what can I say? Anyway, so the NYPD, they have these roving patrols that go out with the lights flashing to let people know that they're there if people get stuck or people need help. Also, too, in the cold weather, in some phones, your battery dies really quickly in the cold weather, so they just want to make sure that nobody's out, like stuck in a snowbank somewhere that needs help. So they've been doing a great job. The sanitation department's been doing a great job, and people are taking it in stride. It's the worst storm we've had probably in about 5 years here, and so it's time to dust off the heavy coat and the waterproof boots and get the whole gear and get out here and do our job.
Yeah.
Daytona?
Yeah. Yep. Well, it looks like you got some strong New Yorkers out there braving the snow. And thank you for you being out there, too, and speaking to us about this. I'm sure we'll be speaking with you soon, Lisa. Thank you.
All right, Daytona, anytime. I'm Lisa Evers here for News Now, Fox 5. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. So always really great to have those live reports.